A good story is personal. A good story is emotional. Oh, and before I forget, a good story is true.
My name is Camille Dundas. I've spent the last 15 years as a journalist researching and writing about Canadian history and the Black Canadian experience. And as a consultant, I've helped dozens of global companies implement anti-racism education programs. Asking me to influence a leader to see the value in D&I is asking me to influence a leader to see the value in my humanity. I don't want to work in a place where I have to justify my very existence as being important to the bottom line.
How do you signal allyship? I announce my pronouns at meetings and in my email signature, not because I fear being misgendered, but because I want to signal to anyone I'm communicating with that I am open to creating a space that validates their identity.
You know, the way that we think about each other is all through perception. And we get those perceptions through education, what we learn coming up in elementary and high school on the playground. Right. We get those perceptions from the media we consume, and we get those perceptions from the laws passed by our government.
Yes.
So if our government is passing laws that wants to keep people out instead of allow them in, it makes us think, oh, well, those people must be bad. Right. So, you know, I have a negative perception of those people. If the images we consume in the media are constantly negative images of certain people, we are going to carry that as much as we try to resist it. Same for education. Yep. And so I call on the people in positions of power in those three particular institutions. And when I say positions of power, I don't just mean the prime minister or whoever. I mean, you're working in media, the producer, the writer, the host, your education, the teacher, the assistant, the principal. Because when you come to work that day, you decide, what kind of story am I going to tell today?
That's right.
When you come to work as a teacher, you're going to decide, am I going to make this lesson inclusive? What am I going to do for Black History Month? What am I going to do outside of Black History Month, right? So anyone who works in any of those types of positions, it is your responsibility every day that you wake up to influence the perceptions that people have of each other.
Absolutely.
May I heard the phrase, the real McCoy?
Yes, absolutely.
Something that we all have heard, right? But many of us don't know that that comes from a Black Canadian called Elijah McCoy, who grew up in Nova Scotia during a time when schools were still segregated. And from very early on, it was clear he was brilliant. He was a phenom. He studied mechanical engineering at age 15 and then invented something that lubricated trains, the locomotive, while a train was still in movement, which of course revolutionized that industry.
While it was still
While it was still, because now it means that trains didn't have to stop to lubricate, right? And a lot of people tried to copy his inventions, but they didn't work quite as well. So people would say, I want the real McCoy.
Oh my
and he went on.
I keep hearing people say DEI is about giving racialized people jobs that they didn't earn or that they're not qualified for it. Anne-Marie, I'll ask you, and I'm asking everyone who's watching today, I want you to think back to every job you've had. Name one time you've seen someone who was hired only because of their race and had zero qualifications for the job. If you can tell me that is a real trend happening, I will be the first to stand corrected. It's so easy for us to fall victim to this race war narrative that Black people or Indigenous people, people of color are stealing jobs that they didn't earn. Then we completely overlook that DEI is about so much more than race.
Right.
Quite frankly, DEI benefits white people too.
Camille Dundas, always great to have conversation with you.